Over the past year, the entrance of the generative AI paradigm has fueled a skyrocketing of public engagement with AI development. Through products like ChatGPT, Bard, and Midjourney, the state-of-the-art AI has become far easier to interact with than it ever was previously. As an AI practitioner and someone who has worked in the field for a number of years, it's been fascinating to see the spectrum of different reactions that people have experienced when interacting with this technology. Some examples of this are joy when seeing a chat model create an entertaining poem about a friend, wonder at generated artwork, which is aesthetic or tasteful, anger from segments of the artistic community at seeing styles impersonated, and poignantly, from a number of perspectives, fear of an unknown future, which we are about to embark upon with this powerful technology. Though there are many reasons for concern, which are valid, today I'd like to walk everyone through some alternative perspectives to consider some reasons to be hopeful about the upcoming technological revolution that AI will bring. Specifically, we will touch on 5 reasons not to despair about AI, and so my hope is that we can leave feeling a little brighter about our prospects. So my first reason today is that historically, doom mentality forecasts have been inaccurate. Now, there are some cultural variations on this throughout the world, but typically as a species, our societies have a natural inclination towards negative forecasts of the future, or in other words, doom mentality. Being born and raised in Britain myself, I can say that pessimism and cynicism are an almost ubiquitous aspect of our culture, humor, and mentalities, with the weather, the national football team, and the government being the usual suspects for receiving the brunt of this energy. When it comes to technological and societal changes, commentators who lean into conditional optimism typically tend to be labeled as naive, whereas doom mentality schools of thought tend to achieve greater popularity. And this is a common pattern throughout technological history. Innovations such as electricity, personal computers, the internet, and smartphones have all been received with many negative forecasts initially from academics and commentators. Yet these technologies have enriched our lives and welfare to an extent that's hard to exaggerate. Globally, we have seen consistent falls in poverty rates, increases in life expectancies, and falls in deaths due to armed conflicts over the past 100 years. And technology has at least some part to play in this. So in this graph that I'm showing now of life expectancy versus time over the past 100 years, we can see a very strong upwards progress across all continents. And while I'm sure that many will agree that the inequality levels today in this chart are far too high, from a welfare perspective, this is excellent progress. Similarly, we can see that poverty rates have fallen drastically over several different definitions during past decades. Whilst we still live in a divided world where conflict is present, as we've been painfully reminded of with recent conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine, the overall trend over the past 100 years has been proportionally lower death rates due to armed conflicts. So let's be under no illusion. Human society has faced many serious problems over this period. Many have suffered and will continue to do so in the future. But it is irrefutable that technological advances and innovation have helped to pave the way for significant progress across these key axes. And this typically runs against the grain of public commentary around technology. So, of course, it's not possible to perfectly extrapolate from the past, but it is good to be aware of this tendency towards a pessimistic outlook. Reason 2 today is a confusion between science and science fiction. A common theme for discussion and debate is the premise of existential danger to humanity through the emergence of artificial intelligence overlords. Few people I know working in AI research worry about an imminent threat from their algorithms becoming sentient and taking over the world. And the reason for that is that really it's a departure from present-day systems and the capabilities that we have. Firstly, to untangle the link between intelligence and sentience. Neither intelligence nor sentience has a universal definition, but typically we would consider intelligence to correlate with the ability to solve problems, whereas sentience refers to the notion of a subjective and unique experience of the world driven by feelings and emotions. There's a school of thought that sentience will naturally arise out of growing complexity with AI algorithms. But really, there's no concrete evidence to support this, as it's never been observed. Although the media has an obsession with AGI and this guy on the slide here, in reality, general intelligence is very primitive. So what we typically see, in fact, is that each task that we're training an AI algorithm to learn has a new learning curve. And this looks something like the chart that I'm showing here, with slow progress initially, followed by a period of more explosive growth. And then for a particular task, we typically will reach a convergence point around a maximum level of performance for a particular set of constraints. Humans, in contrast, are far better to adapting to new environments and tasks. So as practitioners, we are yet to understand really how to break out of this paradigm. And we don't even know for certain that it's something that we'll ever be able to solve. So although large language models that people have been interacting with a lot in the past year generate appealing responses based on training with human feedback, if we understand the designs of these systems, it is clear that they are far from entities which have a subjective and feelings-driven experience of life. They're more akin to stochastic or random parrots, but without a deeper sense of awareness. So ultimately, while it's important to discuss some of these topics, the degree of focus and dialogue around these speculative eventualities, in my opinion, act to distract from the real reasons on the real issues the AI community should be focusing on, which brings us on to our next reason for optimism, which is that we're focusing on issues ahead of time. So, in contrast to the types of dialogue I highlighted in the past section, today we do face a very real set of present challenges around AI usage. And on this slide, I've included a selection of the more pressing issues from my perspective. So that includes degradation of content quality due to flooding from generative algorithms, privacy risks that new capabilities may pose, mitigating hidden biases in training data sets and trained algorithms, explainability and transparency, particularly in the case of high-stakes decision systems, aligning AI algorithms with desired outcomes, the threat of autonomous weapons, and planning for shifts of job demand in the economy. What is encouraging is that this set of problems are all being discussed and worked on now. So the AI community, industry, regulators, and government are all working proactively to find technical and governance-based solutions to all of these issues. Whereas with many past technological revolutions, we acted reactively following serious repercussions. So as an example of this, consider the automobile industry. By 1929, there were 23 million cars in the United States. But seatbelts only became mandatory in New York in 1984. So we know that seatbelts decrease mortality rates of passengers by up to 50%. So many tens of thousands of unnecessary deaths would have happened over this period. And another example can be seen in industrial pollution. So many decades passed before we truly understood the negative consequences of industrial pollution on the health of a population, on damage to our ecosystem, and on the global warming of our planet. Measures to use cleaner practices came late with this technology, and we saw similar disasters occur with the growth of the internet and cybersecurity risks, and the harnessing of nuclear power, and the geopolitical tensions this gave rise to. In the past, we have been behind the curve with understanding risks, but with AI, due to the level of natural skepticism, this has actually led to us focusing on many problems ahead of time. So of course, just because we're timely doesn't guarantee anything about our ability to solve the issues or our ability to implement the solutions. But personally, I do think this is promising. Ultimately, answers to these issues are typically going to be a combination of technological and governance-based solutions. And personally, I believe we're well placed to create an environment and a framework to mitigate much of the risk of potential AI dangers, as long as we continue to fund, focus, and collaborate on these issues. So, reason number 4 today is that AI will accelerate breakthroughs across all fields. AI is going to massively increase the rate at which we can build solutions, discover knowledge, and develop society. Fundamentally, AI can help us solve tasks that are currently beyond our reach. And these tasks typically fall into 2 categories. Firstly, tasks which humans are capable of achieving, but that we lack resourcing or time to. In other words, these types of tasks are issues of scale, and AI provides scalability of intelligence via competence and cost effectiveness. The second category of tasks, rather, is a task which humans are not capable of achieving with any amount of time due to cognitive or organizational constraints. So, a couple of examples of scalability type problems would include chat interfacing or image generation. These are typically not capabilities that are beyond human intelligence, as impressive as the results are. These products allow us to solve scalability level challenges. Examples of superhuman performance, on the other hand, include AlphaFold, which can predict protein structures from strings of amino acids, a task well beyond previous capabilities, or within radiology, like this picture on the right here. So within radiology, AI can outperform radiologists at segmenting an image and spotting abnormalities which might be malignant tumors. But in a medical setting, the human practitioner works with these features to make a final decision. And this is also an example of an AI plus human type system, which typically produce very good levels of performance in many of these types of use cases. Collectively as a species, human beings are a highly effective problem-solving machine. AI has the potential to accelerate our progress in an unprecedented manner. One reason that this should fill us all with optimism is that this kind of acceleration may turn out to be exactly what is needed to solve pressing issues of today and to create a more flourishing and abundant society for future generations. So, let's consider problems within fields such as climate change, environmental science, medicine and disease, scarcity and resource distribution, and physics and engineering. So already, AI as a tool is having an impact across all of these areas, and that will only increase with continuous innovation. And I think this is something we can all agree is a positive thing. And this brings me on to my last reason today, which is that AI will allow us to probe questions which were previously inaccessible. So one thing that AI does exceptionally well is enabling us to distill insights out of data at scales and complexities that were previously impossible to investigate. This may unlock the door to probing hidden patterns in large dynamic systems. For example, understanding dynamics of flows of human capital through the economy, understanding complex biological systems, detecting trends happening in real time via distillation of the global media, and discovering how network effects propagate amongst social groups. So this new set of tools presents the possibility of really expanding the horizon of knowledge and understanding and shining a clearer light into places which were previously opaque. We can learn far more about how to interpret these complex dynamics within society and also within the universe around us. And it is my own belief that perhaps these insights will take us closer to an understanding of the big questions of humanity. So, to bring everything back around, we've considered a few reasons why some of the despair narrative around AI may be misplaced, and some reasons for optimism around the way that AI may improve our lives in the future. And just to recap on these reasons, firstly, doom mentality has historically been a poor forecaster. Second, the confusion between science and science fiction. Third, that we're focusing on the important issues ahead of time. Fourth, that AI will accelerate breakthroughs across all fields. And fifth, that AI will allow us to probe questions which were previously inaccessible. As an AI community, we need to continue focusing on the salient problems around AI use. We should exert caution around ensuring that use cases we select are appropriate for AI, and put more of our focus into ensuring that those uses are executed responsibly. And with this at the forefront of our mind, we can see the phenomenal impact that AI is having across a number of fields. Incredible results are being seen in medicine, life science, economics, logistics, business efficiency, and many other fields. And this is something that really we should be celebrating, something that should make us feel excited about the improvements that AI is capable of bringing, as long as we focus on minimizing the risks and costs and maximizing the opportunities and value. While it is natural that there is some apprehension, we also shouldn't neglect saving some room for optimism. Thank you for listening.